Hi guys, so today we're working on lesson 7.10. I am on page 345 and we are on problem solving, finding unknown lengths. The first question says, Sarah wants to design a rectangular garden with a section for flowers that attract butterflies. She wants the area of this section to be 3/4 square yards. If she wants the width to be 1/3 the length, what will the dimensions of the butterfly section be? Okay, so what do I need to find? I need to find, so that's asking what's the question here, except they want us to write it as a sentence instead in this particular one. I need to find what the dimensions of the butterfly section will be. So I need to find what the dimensions of the butterfly section will be, period. Second part, what information will I need to use? They already have quite a bit of it written down. The part of the garden for butterflies has an area of 3/4 square yards. And the width is 1/3 of its length. How will I use this? I will multiply, no. Yes, I will guess the sides of the butterfly area. Then I will check my answer and revise if it is not correct. So I will guess the sides, the lengths, I will check my answer and then revise if it is not correct. Down under solve the problem, it says I can try different lengths and calculate the widths by finding 1/3 of the length. For each length and width, I'll find the area and then compare. If the product is less than or greater than 3/4 of a square yard, I will need to revise that length. So the first one they have written down says, the guess was 3/4. Then if I multiply 1/3 times the 3/4, I get 1/4. If I multiply the 3/4 by the 1/4, I end up with 3/16, which is too low. So I'm going to revise by trying a longer length. This time they went with 2/4, 2 1/4, or 9/4. So in order to find what width we're working with, we do 9/4 times 1/3. We're always going to multiply it by 1/3 to get the width, because remember, it is 1/3 of the width is 1/3 of the length. So 9 times 1 is 9 over 4 times 3, which is 12. I'm now going to multiply my 9/4 times 9/12. 9 times 9 is 81. 4 times 12 is, well, let's do that over here. 12 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 4. So I have 81 over 48. Okay. 81 is larger than 48. Our final answer that we're looking for is a fraction with a smaller number on top and a larger number on the bottom. This one has a larger number on top and a smaller number on the bottom. This is way too big. So I'm going to put down 2, try a shorter length. Okay, and then I'm going to put a line there. So we finished that one. I'm going to choose a different color for the next one. Let's go with, no, let's go with this. Okay, so far I know 3/4 is too short. 9/4 is too long. Wow. Okay. Let's try. Let's try 1 1/4 maybe. So 1 1/4. We'll then sit here and we'll do this. So 1 1/4. 1 times 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So it ends up being 6/4. Okay? Let's try that. 6/4 times 1/3 is equal to 6 times 1 is 6 over 4 times 3, which is 12. So then we have 6/4 times 6/12, which is 6 times 6 is 36. 4 times 12, we already did that right there, which is 48. 36/48. Well, on the surface, it looks like that might work for us. It is a lower number on the top, a higher number on the bottom. Let's simplify it, put it down so that we can figure out whether or not it actually is what we want. So I'm going to rewrite it up here, 36/48, and I'm going to divide out, well, they're both even, so I can divide out of 2. I'm going to check this though first. 3 plus 6 is 9, so I can take a 3 out of that. 4 plus 8 is 12, and then 1 plus 2 gives us 3, so I can take a 3 out of that. So I'm going to take out both a 2 and a 3 at the same time, which means 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to divide out a 6. That is both a 2 and a 3 at the same time. 36 divided by 6 is 6. 48 divided by 6 is, this is one of our facts, 6 times what gives us 48? 8. All right, so 6/8 now. They're both still even. I can take a 3 out of the 6, but I can't take a 3 out of the 8. So I can only take out a 2 because they're both still even. So let's divide out that 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3 over 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And check that out. I was fully expecting this to be one of those problems where I had to keep coming up with other numbers. I never actually got to where I was supposed to, but that was pure luck. All right, then 3/4, that's what we wanted. So I guess that's what we have. All right. 3/4 is exactly what we wanted. So the dimensions of Sarah's butterfly garden are 1 1/4 yard by, well, I guess we need to reduce the 6/12. So 6/12 divided by, I can take, they're both even, so I can take out a 2. I can take a 3 out of 6. 1 plus 2 is 3. I can take a 3 out of 3. So I'll take out both the 2 and the 3 at the same time. 2 times 3 is 6. So I'll take out a 6 at the same time. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So by 1/2 yard. So that's how much our butterfly garden is going to be. Okay, cool. Next page. Let me get the next paper for it. Just a sec. Okay, so you'll remember I don't like how these are set up. They sit here. This is actually what do I need to find? This one is actually what information do I need to use? And this one is actually how will I use the information? I prefer question, what I know, and operation. How am I going to solve the problem? But I put down titles that are closer to what is actually in your book on page 346, so you didn't get super confused about where this information went. It says, Marcus is building a rectangular box for his kitten to sleep in. He wants the area of the bottom of the box to be 360 square inches and the length of one side to be 1 3/5 the length of the other side. What should the dimensions of the bottom of the box be? What do I need to find? Now, I am going to write this as a question. You can change it to a statement if you want. What are the dimensions of the bottom of the box? What are the dimensions of the bottom of the box? The information that I am given, what information do I need to use? So area is 360. That's our area. And then we know that the length is 1 3/5 the length of the other side. So since I know the area for a rectangle is length times width, I'm just going to talk about them like the length and width. It'll make us far less confused. So the length is equal to 1 3/5 times the width. That's what we know. So every time that we do it, so this one we're going to start with width and then we're going to do length, and every time that we do length we're going to do times 1 3/5. So we'll figure out before we start doing our calculations what 1 3/5 looks like as an improper fraction, because we don't want to keep having to mess around with changing it into an improper fraction over and over and over again. How am I going to use this information? I'm going to guess, check, and revise. Okay, so I'm going to guess, check, and revise on this information. Now let me write in our next one. So our next one down here is going to look like this. I am going to have width, length, area, and then check. Now, or I guess this is supposed to be revised. The area is our check. And then this should be revised. Okay, all the way over there on the side. Now, basically in revise, I'm just going to put a up arrow or a down arrow for whether we need to go bigger or smaller instead of the way that they did it on the other side. That is why my revised column is so small. I don't need a huge revised column. I just need the little up for the number needs to get bigger, down for the number needs to get smaller, and checkbox for when we actually guess the correct number. Okay, so I told you we were going to figure out what 1 3/5 was as an improper fraction first. So I go 1 times 5, which is 5, plus 3, which is 8. So I have an 8 over 5, 8/5. That's what I'm multiplying by, because 1 3/5 is equal to 8/5. And I should pick a different marker. So let's go over here. The width. I need it to be equal to 360. That is a lot bigger than 1 3/5. So I think what I'm going to do to start with maybe is just pick a super big number. Let's go with, I want to see what happens if I do a 50. Let's try that. So let's make our width 50. Let's see what happens. Width 50, and the length is the width times 8 over 5. So I end up with, oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, 50 times 8. Here, you know what? I'm going to have this here, and then I'm going to do a different sheet of paper, which I'm going to do the calculations on. 50 times 8. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. So I end up with 400 over 5. Now I know I can divide that out. I know that divides out evenly because we have the 5 and the 5. So I'm just going to straight up do that. 5 into 400. 5 goes into 40 how many times? 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 0 0 times. So we have 80. So when I come over here, 5 times 8/5 gives us 80. So our area is going to be 50 times 80. So let me go back over here. Or actually, you know what? Let's talk about it this way. What is 5 times 8? 40. And then I have 2 zeros. So I ended up with 4,000. I'm supposed to have 360. Yeah, that is way too big. I need to make that so much smaller. It's not even funny. Okay, let's try a different one. Let's jump way down to, let's go with, I still think it needs to be a big number. So let's go with 25 and see if that helps, matters any. So now I have 25 times 8/5. Let's go on to our other side. So we start with 25 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Carry the 4 up there. 2 times 8 is 16, plus the 4, 20. So now I have 200 over 5. So I have half the amount that I had before. 5 into 200. 5 goes into 20. 4 times. because 5 times 4 is 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 0 0 times, so it's a total of 40. Coming back over to this page. Seriously. Equals 40. So then I have 25 times 40 equals, all right, back over to this page, 25 times 40. That 0 is just going to make everything a 0 in the first one, so I'm not even going to bother with it. I'm just going to put in my placeholder and go 4 times 5, which is 20, 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 2, which is 10. So that gives me 1,000. Well, that is significantly lower, not as significantly lower as we want it. We still need to go down. Let's try, let's try 10 this time, see how that one does. You note how I'm picking whole numbers until I get close. Once I get close, I'll start trying to put in fractions, but for right now, I'm still trying to zero in on about where it's going to be. I still think it's going to be a fairly high number because we need 360. I'm just not sure how high this high number is going to have to be. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. So now I have 10 times 8 over 5. I know that 10 times 8 is 80, but I'm still going to go over to here because I need to do 5 into 80. 5 goes into 8 one time, because 1 times 5 is 5. 8 minus 5 is 3. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times. So that's minus 30, which gives us a 0. So this is equal to 16. Back on this side again. Equal to 16. Now I have 10 times 16, which gives us, I just add 1 0 onto the end of the 16. That gives us 160, which is now too small. Okay, so I know it has to be somewhere between 10 and 25. Let's try another one. Let's try 15. Let's see if we can have it in the middle there. So I now have 15 times 8 over 5. 15 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4, which is 12. So that gives me 120 over 5. I know I can divide that out evenly. 5 into 120. 5 goes into 12 2 times, because 5 times 2 is 10. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 20 how many times? 4. Because 4 times 5 is 20. And 20 minus 20 is 0. So we have a 24. And then I end up with 15 times 24. Let me come over to this side. 15 times 24. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2, 6. And then I have my placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1, 3. 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. 3 plus nothing is 3. Check that out. That is equal to 360, which is exactly what we wanted. Check. There we go. That's our number. So the width, the dimensions of the bottom of the kitten's box will be 15 by 24. What if the longer side is still 1 3/5 the length of the shorter side, and the shorter side is 20 inches long? What would the area of the bottom of the bed be then? All right, so let me do that on this one. So we're still doing the shorter side is 20 inches long. So we're doing 20 times the 8/5. Okay, let me move this up. 20 times the 8/5 equals 20 times 8. 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 2 is 16. 160, we can divide by 5. We can definitely divide by 5. 5 goes into 160. 5 goes into 16 3 times, because 3 times 5 is 15. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 10 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. So that is equal to 20 times 32. Let's see what 20 times 32 is. I'm going to put the 32 on top because it has 2 numbers I'm dealing with, and the 20 on the bottom because it only has 1 number I'm dealing with. The 0 is going to just end up with all zeros, so I'm not bothering with that one. I'm just putting it in as a placeholder. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. So it would be 640 inches squared. Whenever it's area, it's always inches squared. So we would end up with an area on the bottom of 640. And we have run over time, so I'm going to stop there. Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.